There are seasons in life, just like seasons, the fall, the winter, the spring, and the summer. Just when you feel like life can't get any harder, something new is going to come your way. You are going to get through that time. You're going to prevail. It is just a season. It's temporary discomfort. And the more comfortable you get with being in those uncomfortable seasons, the stronger you're going to be, the more susceptible to adversity you are going to be, and you're going to become a better version of yourself in the process. Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the Beyond the Scale podcast. I am your host, Mary Katherine. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are talking about when to rest and when to push through, and some foundational habits that you can start this year, right now in this season, to start taking care of yourself so that you can combat any sickness, any illness, the stress, the busyness, everything that comes your way this holiday season, this winter season, and just when you have a lot on your plate in life. So I first want to ask you, does this sound familiar? Okay, here it is. I'm getting back on track tomorrow. I'm setting my alarm. I'm waking up early to go to the gym. I am meal prepping. I'm packing my lunch. I'm going to bed early. I'm reading books at night. I'm not eating sugar. I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm cutting all toxic things out of my life. Let's do this thing. Then the next thing you know, your child comes home sick from school with a fever. Your newborn hits a sleep regression. Oh, and now you feel a cold coming on. Your husband is working long hours. Everything is crazy for you at the office. And that new health and fitness goal that you set for yourself is once again going to be put on the back burner. There's no way in the world someone can manage all of this and still make time to go to the gym and take care of themselves. It seems impossible these days. Does this sound like you? Or maybe sound like a season that you've been in, or maybe it's one you're about to enter, but you don't even know it yet. Spoiler alert. Today, we are going to talk about when it is appropriate to push through, when we should hit pause when it comes to your health and fitness goals, but also when it comes to just your daily habits and your daily life. And we're going to take inventory of what you're spending your time on, your energy on, what's stressing you out. It's almost flu season when I'm recording this. The weather is getting colder. Our little kiddos are picking up some new virus at school, and how dare we kiss all over them and catch it ourselves. And as a mom, I feel like we take care of everyone else, but we give very little care to ourselves personally. And unfortunately, it's inevitable. Like, it's no one's fault. We brought these sweet little humans into the world, and it's our job to take care of them. But outside of that, we do have to remember that in order for us to take care of them, we have to do a good job of taking care of ourselves. So we're going to talk about two different areas. The first one is, how can we form foundational habits that we can stick with no matter what our day looks like, no matter what is going on in our life. And then the second piece is, when should we push through a sickness or stress or not getting a lot of sleep? And when should we give our body a break? So let's dive right in. Let's first talk about those foundational habits. And these foundational habits are daily habits that I want you to adopt for yourself, that you can do every single day, no matter what your schedule looks like, no matter if someone is coming home from sick or if it's snowing outside. If it's a hot summer day, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. These are habits that I want you to have for yourself that are your non-negotiables. And they're so easy. Everyone could start doing them consistently, you're going to feel better regardless if you have started making time to go to the gym or not. These foundational habits are not fitness related. They're not necessarily like all health related either. These are things that you can easily adopt and it's not going to stress you out. The last thing I want you to do is listen to this episode today and at the end, think to yourself, I have a whole list of things that I need to start doing. Ready, set, go. How am I even going to do this? And like, that's not what today is going to be. But let's dive in. Our first one is water. I talk about water all the time, but even though I feel like it's a no-brainer that you should drink water every single day, I often hear people are not drinking enough water and they're talking about how they start their morning with coffee, and you have to drink water before you do that. I carry a Stanley cup around with me everywhere. I fill it up multiple times during the day, probably like 4 or 5. So I'm getting way more water than I actually need. But water helps you feel better. When you have a headache, when you're feeling sore, fatigued, when you're tired, drink some water. And you know what? Add an electrolyte packet in there too. That can help a lot. Electrolyte mixtures are great, especially if you're someone who is working out, because most electrolyte packets have like a microdose of your BCAAs, which are going to help with muscle repair and soreness and fatigue. So Truline is one that I love. I also like the First Form hydration sticks. Those are good as well. I typically add a hydration stick or electrolyte mixture into my water first thing in the morning when I wake up, because you get naturally very dehydrated when you're sleeping. So I do that first thing in the morning before I have my coffee. So there is our first one. I want you to be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. So for me, for example, I weigh 120. I need to be getting at least 60, but I try to aim for 100, at least 60 ounces of water a day or more. So that is your rule of thumb. I want you to think about that. How much water are you drinking right now? How can we get more water in? Do you have a special water bottle? Or maybe you need to go purchase one that you can keep on your desk all day, refill it, keep it in your car. Maybe you have multiple water bottles. Maybe you keep one by your nightstand that's full. You keep one on your desk. You keep one in your car. Whatever works for you, we have to get the water in. This is going to help you in all seasons, on any day, no matter what, we're getting our water in. All right. My second thing for you is movement. And I told you these are things that you can do regardless if you're able to make it to the gym. And I'm going to stick to that. I promise you. The people that are in the best shapes of their lives are not only going to the gym for 30 minutes a day. They are doing so much more than that. They are moving more throughout the day in their everyday life. So whether you have an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, anything, a step counter, anything that tracks your metrics, tracks your daily steps and movement, I want you to start paying attention to how much you're moving throughout the day outside of your workout. And if you have a day where everyone in the household is sick, and maybe even including you, you still have to get a little bit of movement in. And no, I'm not recommending you go and like move a ton, clean your whole house, scrub your floors when you have a temperature or anything like that, when you're feeling sick, because it might be impossible for you to do a lot of movement those days. However, what I want you to pay attention to is on those days where fitting a workout in is just not going to be possible. How can we move outside of that workout? Or if you're someone that works in an office setting or even at home and you're sitting at a desk all day long, how can we incorporate more movement throughout the day and you can still get your work done? So for example, setting a timer or setting a reminder every hour to get up, walk around the house, walk around the block, do a few squats, do a few push-ups, whatever you can, just to move your body. The other day, I had two choices. I could either get a workout in, or I could clean my house before the weekend. And I had a jam-packed day with meetings. I had a ton of stuff going on. I should have gotten up earlier. I should have worked out before the kids got up. I should have done that, but I didn't. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I didn't do it. And I had 1 hour to myself. I said, okay, do I want a clean, fresh house, for my kids to come home to today? Go into the weekend with a clean house, laundry done? Or do I want to go down to the garage, do a workout, and then still have a messy house? And so I had two choices. And so I said, you know what? I really need that peace of mind. I need to be in that good mental space. I'm going to clean the house. But I started to think about how could I make that a workout as well? So I turned on some music, put in the headphones. I started a HIIT activity on my watch, and I speed cleaned the house. And over the course of an hour, my watch said that I burned 350 calories. My heart rate, my average heart rate throughout the entire house deep clean and laundry was 125 to 135 because I was moving so fast. And every so many minutes, I would drop down and do a few squats. I added a few push-ups in there, and I even did a few burpees, and I made it fun. And so I want you to think about this the next time you're at a crossroads like I was, where you need to get a workout in. You really want to get that workout in. You're feeling good. You're feeling motivated, but you also need to clean your house, or maybe you need to mow your grass, or maybe you need to blow the leaves off the porch, or maybe it is just a ton of laundry, because I know that the laundry, it just overflows all the time for me. And like my 2.5-year-old is like little socks, just like folding those and matching those and putting everything on the hangers and organizing that. It is a daunting task. It's a chore that I wish I could just pass on to someone else on the daily, but I can't. I have to do it. And if you're listening to this, you probably can totally relate. There are some things that you want to pass on so bad, but no matter what, you're always going to be stuck doing them. So how can we make them fun? How can we make it part of our activity? How can we get that heart rate up and make it count? And so that's kind of like a side note to my daily movement goal for you. But think about that. What are some things that you're doing throughout your day? Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or a working mom. Daily tasks, household chores that we're all doing all the time. How can we make that a part of our daily movement? How can we add more daily movement? Maybe you are at a desk all day. You're at your computer. Can you stand up a few hours a day versus sitting? Can you shuffle back and forth? Can you do some reverse lunges? Can you add some squats? Can you do some push-ups on the wall? The answer is yes, you can do all of these things. But the real question is, are you going to do them? How can you set reminders for yourself to incorporate this daily movement and activity into your routine that you're already doing, that you're already accustomed to, and make it easy for yourself, make it fun and rewarding? Maybe you need to set up some sort of reward-based system for yourself so that you actually do that. So that is my number 2, is just getting in that daily movement outside of your workout. Because as I mentioned, the super fit individuals that you see today, they are not just going to the gym for 30 minutes to an hour a day and then calling it quits there. They are likely super active throughout their day. They are up, moving around in their job, at home, in their daily life. And that's how they're staying in that best shape year round. So I want you to think about that. How can we add more daily movement into your routine outside of the gym? Okay, my number 3 is nutrition. Now, if you have been following along the podcast, one thing that you have likely learned about me is that I rarely follow a strict nutrition plan. I have a hard time with super concrete, strict guidelines, and I'm okay with that. I realize that that is something I don't excel with, and so I've had to structure my life in a way where I can be disciplined enough when it comes to my nutrition, but also have the flexibility that I desire, not to feel like I'm super restricted, so I live an 80-20 lifestyle. I follow the 80-20 rule. I'm going to recommend that if you're in a season of life like me, or if you're just trying to check all the boxes to feel your best, to look your best, to show up as your best as many days of the year as you can, try the 80-20 rule. So 80% of my day, I eat very healthy. I eat salads, oatmeal, whole grains. I rarely eat white bread, pastries, ice cream, drink alcohol. I do enjoy these things, but only 20% of the time. And you can break this up by each day, by each week. So 80% of my day, I'm consuming something that is healthy, nutritious, and is good for me. I'm going to benefit from what I'm eating. And then the other 20% might be something that is a sweet treat or something that isn't necessarily good for me, but I really enjoyed it. So that might be like a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. It's pumpkin spice season right now as I'm recording this. Or it might be a glass of wine with my husband on a date night. I have found that when I live my life according to this rule, I don't fall victim to the all or nothing mentality, which I very much used to do. And so, a story on that, when I became a fitness business owner, I very much wanted to identify as a fit, healthy individual 24/7, no matter what. However, I was young. I was still going out with my friends on the weekend. And when I did, I would overeat or overdrink. And then the next morning, I would wake up feeling guilty about what I consumed. And I didn't feel good. I had a headache or a stomach ache. I had no energy, didn't want to work out. And so I would eat an unhealthy breakfast. I wouldn't work out that day. I would fall victim to the fact that I went too hard the night before. So I'm just going to lay in bed all day and not do anything. And then come Monday, I was going to go 110% with my nutrition, with my workouts. I wasn't going to touch any sugar, no alcohol, that all or nothing mentality. And everyone can relate to this, no matter what season of life you're in. I know we have all experienced that all or nothing mentality when it comes to something, when it comes to your work, to your family, to your nutrition, to your workouts, to consuming something that we know we shouldn't, that is not good for us. We have all felt what it's like to be stuck in that cycle. And I was stuck in that cycle for so long. It wasn't until after I started having kids that I realized I needed to make some real life changes so that I could live a sustainable lifestyle when it came to my health and nutrition that I wasn't going to feel like guilty about ever, or if I was going to feel like I was stuck in this all or nothing mentality. I had to get out of that. So by adopting the 80-20 rule when it came to my nutrition, when it came to my fitness, when it came to how I spent my time, even how I spend my time every single day, that allows me that flexibility, that freedom to enjoy the things that I know aren't necessarily moving the needle in my life. That could be like spending 30 minutes a day reading a book for fun, spending an hour once a week going to play tennis with friends, which it's a workout, yes, but it's something that you enjoy, a hobby. It could be watching a Netflix show with your husband after your kids go to bed, or it could be enjoying a few drinks with friends on the weekend, enjoying an ice cream cone with your kids. Like, you can apply the 80-20 rule to any area of your life, okay? We can't all be 100% of the time. Because if we are, there's nothing that we would ever be working on or working towards. We would always be the best version of ourselves every day. There would never be any room for improvement. And if you try to live your life like that, where you're so strict with everything, then you'll get burnout very quickly. And you'll get overwhelmed when something doesn't go your way. When one of your kids does get sick and you can't get your workout in, or when you go over to your in-laws for dinner and they're serving pizza instead of baked chicken, green beans, and sweet potatoes. And you're like, ooh, I can't eat that. No, you can, because you're normally eating chicken and sweet potatoes. Eat the pizza. And so we have to think about our life according to the 80-20 rule in order to stay consistent, in order to have balance, in order to have flexibility and freedom and happiness. So I recommend try the 80-20 rule, and maybe just try it in one area of your life at first. Like, try it with your nutrition. Like, do like I do. 80% of my day, I'm eating things and drinking things that are really good for me. And 20%, I'm going to have a chocolate chip cookie after dinner, or I'm going to have that pumpkin spice latte, or I'm going to have that glass of wine. Or if you want to try it with your fitness, like maybe you're new to working out and this has been tough for you to get into it, but you're starting to make changes and you're starting to see the difference. You're feeling good. Apply the 80-20 rule to your workout schedule. Take one day off during the week. Do not work out. Maybe meditate or go for a brisk walk. Take your dog for a walk. Do some yoga, some light stretching. Take a day off because you deserve it. You're going 80% you're going 100% the other days. Take that day off to equal that 80-20 rule that week with your exercise. All right. So that was number 3. That was my 80-20 rule. Okay. My number 4, the last one is rest. And this is one that I personally struggle with the most. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I've had sleeping problems since I started college. So we're talking 15 years ago. It was my first semester of James Madison University. Go Dukes. I was dedicated to my studies, but I also just joined a sorority. I was very much enjoying everything that the college life had to offer. But I was finding myself having sleepless nights before I had a big test coming up or a presentation that I had to give or just anything that I was stressed out about. I would stay up at night with insomnia because my anxiety had gotten so bad and I was letting it control my thoughts, which was ultimately controlling my sleeping patterns. And I have been in and out of the insomnia, anxiety driven insomnia for the last 15 years. And I'm very honest about it because I know that many women out there have sleeping problems. And if you do any research on your own, or if you go to a doctor, about 50% of the time, it's linked to stress and anxiety and depression or perimenopause or premenopause. And a lot of times it's like things that we can't control. And a doctor will say, oh, well, you need to get your stress under control. You need to get your cortisol levels down. You need to get your anger management under control, your depression under control. And it's not that easy. Like we want to so bad slap a Band-Aid on it or take a magic pill and we're going to just sleep 8 hours every single night. But it's not that easy. And if you're a new mom listening to this, you understand what it's like to have 3 or 4 nights in a row where you're getting only a few hours of sleep and you feel like you're sleepwalking through your life, like you don't have that cognitive function that you need to show up and be a happy, positive person for that little person that you're responsible for taking care of. Let's not also forget to mention the mothers who have a job that you have to go into the office after having sleepless nights with kids and then show up as a leader or an employee in a business. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're just pounding the coffees to try to stay awake, to stay alert. It seems like this inevitable vicious cycle of sleepless nights, not feeling restful, not feeling our best, not looking our best, that you feel like is so permanent, but it is temporary. So what can we do to improve our sleep? I'm not a sleep doctor. I have not figured out all the tricks of the trade yet. And if I did, I would do a whole episode on this because sleep is something that I am always working to improve. But here is what I have found has worked for me. And again, I'm a work in progress. I'm working on this. It's an area of my life that still needs improvement. But one thing that I have found that works really well for me is first supplements. So I take a magnesium supplement every single night. I take a magnesium powder. I've been doing this for about 2 years and it's helped tremendously. So I do magnesium every evening after the kids go to bed. So around 8 p.m. And then I usually have a chamomile tea or a peppermint or ginger tea. So I'll do a tea with a little bit of honey, and that is my nightcap. Some nights I do snack. I am not perfect. Some nights I have a big bag of kettle corn or a chocolate chip cookie or some dark chocolate. Like I love my sweets. I love my nighttime snacks. So I am not going to sit here and tell you that I don't eat during the night and that I just have tea every night because that is not the truth. But I do try to cut down on my nighttime snacking when I can. And I have my tea every evening. And then the second thing that I do is I try to turn everything off by 9:30, 10 o'clock, because I typically get up around 5:30 to 6. and I need to try to aim for 7 to 8 hours every single night. I'd love to say I go to bed the same time and wake up the same time every single day, but I'm a mom and my kids are little. My life is not like that right now. One day, maybe, like I hope for it to be, but it's not right now in this season. But I do try to aim for those 7 to 8 hours. And so I try to shut everything off by 9:30, 10, do a little reading or talk to my husband, do something that does not involve blue light, does not involve looking at my phone, looking at the computer or a TV screen. And this is easier said than done. Like, I get it. Like, you're watching a Netflix show, you're laying in bed with your husband and you fall asleep watching the show or watching the movie. Like, I've done that, totally guilty of that. But when I can control it, I try to shut it off by a certain time so that I can allow my body to fall asleep naturally, not watching TV at the same time or listening to something. I do read a lot now. So I'm in a book club, which has been really fun. I've always been into reading like personal development books. And this book club has gotten me outside of my comfort zone. I'm reading like romance novels and murder mysteries and things that I normally don't ever read. But I've been reading more. So I try to read at night, and that helps calm my mind, calm my body, and just get me into that sleepy, drowsy state before bed so that I'm not falling asleep watching a TV show. Because when that happens, what I often find is I wake up like, 10, 15 minutes later, the TV's still on, the lights are going. I still need to use the bathroom. I need to turn on the sound machine. I need to set up the room for optimal sleep environment. And then once I do all that, I'm awake again, I'm alert, and then it's harder to fall back asleep. So I try not to fall asleep with the TV on, with the TV going. But again, I get it. Easier said than done. But those are some things that I do every night to help with my sleep. It's a work in progress. I am hoping when my kids get to be a little bit older and they both sleep through the night and they're not yelling mommy, or someone's not having an accident or crawling out of the bunk bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. I hope my sleep does improve over time. And if you're listening to this and you're in that season of life, we can all just hope that it gets better, right? All right. So those are the foundational habits that I have formed in my life that have helped support where I'm at, no matter what my day looks like. And I hope some of those will help you guys. Now, I said that we're going to talk about 2 things. And the next thing that I want to talk about is something that I have experienced, especially during the winter months when it's cold outside, when our kids are catching colds and we're catching colds. It's the holidays and we're busy. When to push through. So when to push through a sickness or push through a sniffle, push through whatever you have going on, and when to allow your body to rest. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert on anything when it comes to the human body and medical issues or illnesses, but I have found some things that have worked for me. So if you have any underlying health conditions or something that's more serious than a common cold or flu, I definitely recommend consulting with a doctor when you're in a season of life where you're not sure if you should push through or if you should allow your body to rest. So the number one area, though, that I have learned that you need to allow your body to rest instead of push through is when you're sleep deprived. Even though exercise can give you a boost when you're feeling low in energy, getting your sleep is so important. And it's a part of your fitness routine because it's a part of your recovery. Exercise is a physical stress applied to the body, and muscles get stronger in the period after the workout when the body is repairing the damage made. That is how your muscles grow. That is how you recover. That is how you tone up. That's how you get lean. You have to rest. Working out when you're super tired not only means you probably won't have the energy to go as hard, but you'll also have a bigger chance of hurting yourself. And too much fatigue can reduce motor skills and increase the risk of injury, especially in movement classes like kickboxing, CrossFit, boot camp, cycling, anything like that. If you're training for a race, training for a marathon, a Spartan race, any of that, sleep is so important. So if you're sleep deprived, and you are contemplating sleep versus a workout, it comes down to the individual. But as a rule of thumb, choosing a nap instead of a workout, if you only got 3 to 5 hours of sleep last night, let's choose the nap. It's going to be better for you in the long run. All right, number 2, you might be injured. If you were sore the day after a tough workout, exercise can actually help you recover by increasing circulation, which speeds up healing. However, pain is a physical sign that something is wrong. Doctors use a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to pain. And when 1 is no pain, 10 is excruciating pain. If a muscle is sore around 3 to 5 on the scale, then light movement is good. But if the muscle is in pain, think 6, 7 or above, too much movement can place a lot of stress on the tissue and keep it from properly healing. So if you wake up one morning after a tough workout, after a tough run, a tough boot camp session, if you are in significant pain and you are finding it hard to just do your everyday movement and routine, then I want you to consider taking a rest day. All right, number 3 is you're sick. Again, I told you, like, we're in a season of sickness right now. And while being sick is probably going to happen more often than you being injured, let's talk about what you should do when you're feeling under the weather when it comes to your workouts. So fever is an indication that your body is working hard to defeat a foreign invader. If you're dealing with a full-blown illness, you want your body to be putting its energy towards getting better, not dealing with the stress of exercise in the gym. Plus, you don't want to spread your germs at the gym or pick up any more for your body to handle. The last thing you want is one sickness to be compounded with another sickness. My family went through this last winter. We, for some reason, dealt with strep throat over and over. We had 3 different cases of it cycle through our house over the course of 2 months, and so many different antibiotics and medicines. And I feel like the problem is we never fully recovered from the first time we had it, and then we just kept catching it. And we weren't properly taking care of our bodies and resting. And so when you are sick, you need to make sure that you are prioritizing taking care of yourself and fully recovering from this illness so that it doesn't linger on for an extended period of time and then keep you out of the gym in the long run, because that is the last thing that you want. I promise you that if you take a week off, let's say it takes a week to kick this cold, to kick the flu, strep throat, the sinus infection, let's say it takes an entire week, I promise you that 1 week is not going to completely derail you from all your health and fitness goals, from all the progress that you have already made. You need to take care of yourself when you are sick. It's so important. And going back to moms not spending time taking care of ourselves, we take care of everyone else. If you don't take care of you when you're sick, you definitely aren't going to be able to take care of anyone else in your household. And then when you are feeling better, you're going to still feel worn down because you didn't properly take care of yourself during that stage, during that period when you were ill. So those are the 3 areas when you need to rest, not push through. So when you are sick, when you have a fever, when you are feeling ill, when you are injured, when you are on a pain scale of, let's say, 6 and above, and you are feeling like you don't know how you would do anything in the gym, then don't do anything in the gym. And the first one is sleep. Sleep is king. We need to be getting proper sleep. And if you are sleep deprived, you are better off taking a nap than you are crushing it in the gym, because you're actually not going to crush it in the gym that day. You're going to do more damage than good. So that's all I have for you guys today. Just remember that there are seasons in life, just like seasons, the fall, the winter, the spring, and the summer. Just when you feel like life can't get any harder, something new is going to come your way. You are going to get through that time. You're going to prevail. It is just a season. It's temporary discomfort. And the more comfortable you get with being in those uncomfortable seasons, the stronger you're going to be, the more susceptible to adversity you are going to be, and you're going to become a better version of yourself in the process. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Beyond the Scale podcast. As always, please make sure to check us out on YouTube, subscribe to our Spotify and Apple Podcasts channel, and share this episode with all of your friends. Thanks so much, you guys. Until next time.